Enzo Fernandez, I always rated you. Okay, I'm not his biggest fan, and I'm not Chelsea's biggest fan, but today I think all Arsenal fans were blue for 90 minutes, and it's the darker shade of blue, not the lighter shade of blue, because we needed Chelsea. Did we need? We wanted Chelsea to do us a favour. I know this isn't a Chelsea side that are thriving under Maresca. It's actually a managerless Chelsea. It's a Chelsea whose direction and ideas around the project have been mega questioned all week after the moving on of Enzo Maresca and the mess that has been their managerial situation. And yet they went to Man City. They didn't smash and grab a draw. They deserved a draw. They played well. And when you look at that game, it raises so many questions about Man City that people have been very quick to level at Arsenal. And the reality is, both teams are very good, very capable of winning the Premier League title, but only one of them are 6 points clear of the other. And this week's body of work for Arsenal has been absolutely massive. I cannot believe that at the very, very end of the game, City have thrown it away like that. I know they made changes at the back, some of them forced, I think some of them not. But still, some of the chances they conceded and how open a game that was would have been really concerning for Man City, who came up against a Chelsea side that had no manager. They had no manager. And I mean this with all the respect in the world. I don't even know who that was on the touchline. I went into this game going, who's even taking charge of Chelsea for this? Where are they in their pursuit of Rosignol? What's going on? And yet, they have gone and put up a massive, massive, massive fight and gone and nicked a point for them. Let's make this very clear. Chelsea were not doing that for us in any way, shape, or form. They're doing that for themselves. They're doing that for their futures. They're doing that for the love of the club and the commitment to the game. But Arsenal fans will have celebrated that just as much as Chelsea fans. That's a crazy thing about a title race, is that sometimes you are looking at what the other sides are doing, you're looking at those around you, and you need a little bit of help. And Arsenal have had it from Sunderland and Chelsea this week. And you know what I really like about this week and this body of work is, I think a lot of the myths that were thrown at Arsenal, a lot of the criticisms, and a lot of the reasons that people were saying this Arsenal team can't be champions, essentially, in 1 week, all of those things can be levelled at Manchester City. But the reality is, they have got over the line. Pep Guardiola's got over the line before, and Arsenal are more than capable of getting over the line. We need to stop overanalyzing every little thing this Arsenal team can't do, because there are faults in both, but one of them will be Premier League champions. Let me go over the things I mean. For example, there's not enough goals in this Arsenal team. That's actually something I've been a little bit critical about. Even I've gone into the numbers and said they need to improve. Bam, 7 goals in a week. Man City, 1. 1 goal this week. From Monday to Sunday, 1 goal away at Sunderland and at home to Chelsea. This is a newly promoted Sunderland side who are very good, difficult to beat away from home, but we still scored 2 goals there. And a Chelsea side who are managerless, who have been totally devoid of good ideas in the last few weeks, in the last month really, across the month of December. And they could only put 1 goal past them and ultimately ended up drawing that game 1-1 as well. Arsenal have scored 7. At home to Aston Villa, who were third in the table at the time and still are. In fact, they might even be second now, I haven't even checked. And against Bournemouth, who haven't been conceding many goals at home, if I'm not mistaken. I think have only lost twice at home, that second time being to Arsenal. Typically a difficult place to go. They've picked up good results against Chelsea, against Man United, showed they're very competitive against Liverpool on the opening day, and Arsenal went and put 3 past them as well. So that's a 6+6 swing in favour of Arsenal this week for the goals being scored in this league season. Other thing was mentality and the late goals we were conceding. Again, something I brought up, but other people were really getting on to Arsenal about this. There are Man City conceding very, very late again and making this game something it shouldn't have been. We saw at Fulham not long ago that from 5-1 up it went to 5-4, and there were questions about Man City's ability to have a stranglehold in the game the way they should. Same with Leeds, 3-2, but then some convincing wins against Sunderland and others made us really put that to bed with City. Made us say, okay, they're starting to click. But they worked hard against Forest, nicked it at the end. They were certainly worked hard at Sunderland, couldn't win there, and they were certainly worked hard by Chelsea, and they couldn't win at home against, I'm going to say it again, a managerless Chelsea, conceding in the 94th minute to Enzo Fernandez. So what were the 2 criticisms we just mentioned? Late goals and, that Arsenal aren't scoring enough goals, essentially. Well, they've showed that they've got goals in them, and Man City have also shown that they're prone to the odd late goal. Why? Because there's a lot of quality in this Premier League, and you can just be hurt by teams sometimes. But the third thing for me, and I think it's become really, really prevalent this week, was it takes me back to Paul Scholes talking about Arsenal winning big games. He actually said in the same season in which we went and beat Newcastle away from home, beat Manchester United away from home, smashed Tottenham 4-1, smashed Bayern 3-1, smashed Atletico 4-0. In that very season, he accused Arsenal of not basically winning enough big games, saying you've got to win the big games if you want to be champions. And it follows a long list of nonsense narratives that have come up about Arsenal. Like, you have to win away at the champions to be champions, or away to your title chasing rivals, or whatever it might be. Just hurdles that are put in front of Arsenal that have never been put in front of any other team when it comes to winning the Premier League title, suddenly are in front of Arsenal. And the big game one, something that Arsenal have mastered over years and years under Mikel Arteta. They've been able to, if anything, get up for those big games, have a master plan for those big games. I think there was one or two, get Man City and another Chelsea away. We weren't at our best. Maybe Villa away, like 3 games in 19, 20 or whatever. And people were questioning whether we could win the big games. And here are Man City slipping up at home to Chelsea in a big game. Now, I'm not saying all this to tell you all the City don't have it, we do, we're going to be champions. I said months back that I think Arsenal will win the Premier League. But what I really like about this week, as I just said, is it takes all the myths and all the nonsense around Arsenal completely away. And look, people still bring those points because it's easy media for them, and it's, you know, it's I don't know. A lot of people just say things about Arsenal, I think, because it generates clickbait and conversation. I think a lot of the analysis around Arsenal is completely lazy and is never brought to our other rivals and other clubs. The one thing I do think is very true when pundits and others bring this forward. By the way, what I was just saying there is not necessarily about Paul Scholes. I'm talking lots of people in the media, whether it be social media accounts, whoever. But what I really, really like about this week is that criticism that Arsenal haven't got over the line, and that it does, you can't know whether Arsenal have it mentally until they do it, I actually think is true. So in that, what Arsenal need to do is build up a bit of steam and actually open up a bit of a gap and build the kind of momentum that Man City struggle to keep pace with. Twice this week, we played before them. Villa at home, smashed them. Bournemouth away, got a good win and a deserved win away from home at a ground that City might have hoped we at least drew at. Maybe not lost, but drew at. And instead, they've got into their games away to Sunderland at home to Chelsea with the pressure of Arsenal have just taken care of what should have been a tricky fixture, and they've done it pretty convincingly. And that's what I like, that Arsenal are using those opportunities to put pressure on Man City. So they open a bit of a gap. 7-point gap going into today. City will feel a degree of pressure to try and win it. They do go 1-0 up, but ultimately, Chelsea came fighting back in the second half and they couldn't wrestle back control of that game. And that is concerning for City. In fact, in a lot of games this season, even ones they've won, like Palace 3-0, like Forest 2-1, I never felt they really had control of those games. And that's why I've always felt that there was a side there that you could get at, that you could actually lean on a little bit more in terms of points pressure, and actually say to them, what have you got? Because if we put a couple wins in a row, if we put together a degree of momentum, this might be a Man City side that don't hack it quite as well as previous years. Now, for everything I've just said there, Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland, and a lot of the players there are top players, and they're a top team. Rodri's back. I mean, he's shown glimpses of his quality already since returning, and I've no doubt they will go on a kind of run that really starts to breathe down our neck and put immense pressure on us. But I really, really like that Arsenal have at least opened a bit of a gap and at least asked that question of City, and we've seen a vulnerability in them. They're good. They're very, very good. But I just believe we're that bit better. If we can just keep it up here, we keep calm, we keep doing what we're doing, I really, really think we can not pull away in the title race. I don't think at any point, 6 points is probably the biggest the gap will ever be, in my opinion. If it gets any bigger than that, then wow. But what we can try to do is just keep chipping away to a point where they go, oh my word, we can't keep up. And City have, in previous years, when they've lost the league to Liverpool, fallen away quite significantly. So you never know. Maybe you do open a gap to a point where they go, actually, we can't keep up. But I don't think that's the way this is going to go. I think they're going to, like I said, just keep being there, basically, in some way, shape or form, and keep keeping us honest. And I do think at some point this title race is going to get a little bit nervy, a little bit tetchy for us. But that's why I enjoy days like today, where we open up a bit of a gap and we can acknowledge that we can have 2 bad days. We can have 2 bad days and still be champions. By 2 bad days, I mean not losing. I'm talking, a couple draws. We draw 2 games, they win those 2. We still have a 2-point lead. So that's good. Like, buffers are a good thing. Don't let people tell you, well, it doesn't matter ultimately till you get over the line. No, this is a good thing. This is good for momentum and belief, and it's good for the feeling and the energy around Arsenal. Just a word on Chelsea, by the way. I mean, what a second half from them to Like Palmer missed a good chance. The lap had a strike at Garthwell. He had made a good difference when he came on the lap. I'll be honest, I had one eye on it whilst also watching TV and chilling. But yeah, I thought they had a real good go. Reece James, influential as ever. Gusto did so well on the goal. I mean, such poor defending from O'Reilly to get beaten like that. Don't compare that. He's a good player, O'Reilly, but Miles Lewis-Skelly for me is the better player. And he just gets absolutely done there by Gusto. He whips it into a dangerous area. Donnarumma actually does well to palm it out, but City's defending's not good enough, and Chelsea get the equaliser. It's come on a day where what a day of last minute goals, may I say. Reed against Liverpool. What a strike. That opens the points gap from first to fourth, where Liverpool are, to 14 points. I think we're now 17 points ahead of Chelsea, 14 ahead of Liverpool, miles ahead of Tottenham, Man United, who have drawn at home to Sunderland. Tottenham, Man United have drawn 1-1 away at Leeds. And sometimes you just got to stop when you look at the rivals around you. Like, it's been a clown weekend for the big six. Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, fair play, good result for them, and City. And Arsenal stand head and shoulders above all of them with the result of the weekend, and Chelsea with a very good effort to show there as well. And you sit there and you go, maybe we just need to acknowledge that there's going to be some inconsistency in this league, and that will come from Arsenal too. But my word, have we been ridiculously consistent this season, and that deserves a lot of praise. Just for the team, for the manager, and the fact that we've done it with some of the injuries, some really tricky fixtures at tricky times, and we find ourselves 6 points clear, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League group phase, whatever it's bloody called, and a Carabao Cup semi-final. I tell you what we have learned here, though. Chelsea will be no mugs. There'll be no pushovers at Stamford Bridge nor the Emirates. So that's going to be tricky. Definitely something I've taken away from that game. But ultimately, happy with the 6 point lead. Nothing was won today. Nothing's done and dusted. But it's a really, really, really good sign for Arsenal. And any time we can open that gap a little bit, we've got to be encouraged and enjoy it, because it's a sense of belief for us, encouragement and validation for what we're doing, but also reaffirms what we thought. The City side have some weaknesses. Can I just leave you with one thought for the sake of balance? When City chased us down in 22-23 and we had that 7 point gap, that was around January, February time. And they were actually still dropping some points around Jan, Feb. And it was really mid-Feb to March that they really locked in and went on that run. So I still think it's really early to write them off and say, wow, they're dropping points. This isn't necessarily the old Man City. From a results perspective, use the eye test to make that assumption or come to that conclusion. That, for me, I just don't feel like I'm watching the same team I watched in previous years. But it's a very good team, and we're going to have to be on it if we want to win this Premier League. But it's looking good for us. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you, Chelsea. Not supporting you ever again this season until City go to the bridge. Then I'll be a blue for 90 minutes again. All right, we'll leave it there. We're back to being red. Lewis Cannon's out tomorrow, and another video on the Goonerverse out tomorrow as well. Catch you in a bit.